Hello, everyone. I'm Preeti. I'm the migration agent. And today we are going to talk about the WA state nomination invitation round, which we are expecting to be held very soon within the next couple of weeks. As WA has announced that they would be doing an invitation each month, probably third Thursday of the month or anything after that. We are expecting the round to be held between 18th of November to 22nd of 23rd of November within this round. We are expecting another huge round from the Western Australia state government. Like we had 4,500 invites in the previous round. And in the similar capacity, we are expecting the next round of November also. We had a word with the state. And we were talking about that, what if the quota gets finished, or are we going to work out on this? And we have received the communication through the state government that irrespective of the fact that they have invited the people more than the anticipated quota, they would still be holding a very big round of the next state invitation, which is currently in the next 10 days or so. We would like to let everybody know that they should be ready for this round, which further implies that your EOI must be lodged. The date of effect of your EOI is going to be the most important aspect in this state nomination round. As per the analysis of the previous round, which has been held for the WA, the occupations which have been invited or the people which have been invited under the stream are mainly the offshore stream, where the medical professionals have been invited, graduate stream with the master's degree of at minimum 70 points. The minimum date of effect of those 70 points was March 2022 or furthermore. Then we have also received the applicants, a large chunk of applicants under the general stream living in Western Australia. So if the applicants have mentioned that they are currently living in Western Australia and they have not been studied, they have in the past have not studied in Western Australia, they were eligible under the general stream. The cutoff points for general stream were 85, and the applicants invited were all of them living in Western Australia. There were no applicants. If in the EOI you have mentioned you are outside Western Australia, the invites were not given unless until you were sitting at very high points, which is about 100 and above. Now, the next round that is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks, we anticipate that this round may go for the Western Australian graduates at the bachelor's level and at the diploma level as the highest qualification obtained. The October round has been held for the WA graduates at the master's or the PhD at minimum 70 points. Now, the applicants sitting at 85 points who has done as a highest qualification obtained in Australia as bachelor's under the graduate stream, higher education sector, and the vocational education sector as the diploma holders were not invited in the previous round. We are thinking that the applicants with the diploma holders and the bachelor's or the bachelor's honors may get considered within this round also, as we have been indicated that this also going to be a huge round for Western Australia. Having said that, similarly, in the general stream, applicants at 85 points were invited in the previous round with minimum date of effect for few occupations were January 2022 and majorly for the occupations were March 2022 and above and beyond, I mean. So we expect that the clients sitting at less than 85 points can also be invited. That could be the one scenario for living in Western Australia. Or there could be still the points cutoff can still remain at 85 or may come down to 80. And the invites can go down to the applicants not living in Western Australia for the purpose of the general stream schedule 2. These could be the two scenarios. And in any ways, we would like to invite all our friends that they must lodge their expression of interest. The submission date of an initially submitted EOI is the most important factor when the invitation round is considered. And with the submission date, it does not matter the date you have updated your expression of interest or your EOI. It matters when they are inviting you, at what points or at what date have you initially lodged your expression of interest. I'll give you an example for that. For example, I have done my master's in accounting from Sydney, and I lodged my expression of interest in November 2021, for example. And I have mentioned that my state of residence is New South Wales. My points were in that EOI were 75 points. Now I have sit for an English test. I've got 10 extra points for an English. I went into my EOI and update the EOI to 85 points with my updated English test result. So this effectively changes the date of effect of the points in my EOI. So as of today, which is 7th of November 2022, I'm sitting at 85 points as per an EOI, which is for New South Wales. And I changed that EOI to Western Australia also, that my residence is also Western Australia. I've moved here, I've got my 10 extra points in an EOI. Now, when the round is going to happen, Western Australia is going to pick the people sitting at 85 points, for example, is the minimum cutoff. Then they're not going to see that what is the date of effect of your expression of interest. When have you reached your 85 points? They would see what is the initial date of your submission of your expression of interest, which is November 2021. Then in that case, there would be high chances, because the older the EOI is, the higher the chances of receiving the invite at the minimum points, which is conceded here. That's why we always say when you have got another point or you are updating an EOI, it is very important to judge or to see whether is it beneficial for you to update the same EOI, or is it beneficial for you to lodge another EOI for a different subclass. For a 189 purposes, initial date of submission is not on the basis which you are invited for. The invitations are mainly on the grounds of what is your date of effect, which is when you have got those highest points. The Western Australia state government does not go with the date of effect. It goes with initial date of submission. So make sure you're updating your older EOIs, or if you have got EOIs with another state and now you have moved to WA, do not lodge the EOI of a current date. Change your older date of an EOI to the WA so that you have got high chances of receiving an invite, sitting at the minimum points also. Now, coming to the requirements, WA state government has got the 3 streams. If you are invited under the general stream schedule 1, where we have seen recently most of the nurses or the medical professionals or occupations related to medicals have been invited. Whether the applicants have studied in Western Australia or they are interstate, we have observed that all of these or most of those applicants have been invited under the general stream, irrespective of the fact that those applicants were eligible for the graduate stream also. It is the requirement of, or it is on the discretion of the WA state, they can invite the applicant under any stream. Either if you have not mentioned your experience in the EOI and the stream in which you have been invited, if that needs an experience, you need to meet that requirement of an experience also. Why I have said about the experience, because General Stream Schedule 1 needs 1 year of an experience, whether it is an offshore or it's an onshore experience, 1 year full-time, along with 1 year contract of Western Australia in nominated occupation as a full-time contract. So this is a requirement under the General Stream Schedule 1. Many of the invitations which has been received in this round and in the previous round, especially the medical professions, they have been invited under the general stream. Whether the applicants have written that they have an experience or not, they still have been invited. And so if you are accepting the expression of interest, it is the requirement that when officer is deciding your application, you have met the 1 year experience requirement. So if you're very close to meeting the experience requirement, you can smartly still accept your invite, even if you do not have a 1 year of an experience, and further can meet until the decision of being made by the case officer, because the additional time frame will be provided to provide those documents. So this can be done. There is a way out for the applicants who have been invited under the wrong stream. And now it comes the requirement of the contract. The contract is required 1 year full-time for Schedule 1 applicants. The contract can be from one employer or two employers, which accumulatively needs to make minimum 35 hours per week. So if the applicant is working in a field or is being offered an employment of 20 hours from one employer and 15 from the other in the same nominated occupation, it can go. That will work for it, because you can merge two contracts to meet the requirement. The contract needs to be either ongoing, does not have a date of finish, or needs to be minimum 1 year for the finish of the contract, where the contract is finishing. So the permanent full-time contract, which is ongoing with an ongoing position, would meet the requirement. Fixed term contract of minimum 1 year from the date of invitation or from the date of application is required. If the applicant is working on a contract where it is for 1 year fixed term, 3 months have already passed on, they would not be meeting the requirement. Then they would need, because at the date of an invite, they are only having a 9 months of a further future contract. So it must be from the date of an invitation, a 12 months of a contract, which of a full-time from one employer or two. Now coming to the General Stream Schedule 2 requirement, we have got two subclasses in this, 190 and 491. 190 applicants or the 491s in the previous two rounds, they have been invited at the same points. It does not matter that you have got a higher points in one and the lower in the other, that where would you be invited for? Which implies that if you are meeting a minimum points in your 190, we highly encourage the applicant not to lodge a 491 EOI also. For example, 85 was the minimum cutoff for the invites under the General Stream Schedule 2 in last two previous rounds. Under the 85 points, applicants who have lodged their 491, they must be sitting at the 95 points in 491 and 85 points in their 190 expression of interest. Having both the EOIs means that you have got a higher points in your 491, you will receive the first invite on the 491 only. So if you are meeting, and then that's a risk. Let's say, for example, in this round, it has gone up to 85. And the next round goes at 90. You're sitting at 85. You haven't lodged your 491, then you are not going to receive an invite. But I do not anticipate that the applicants living in Western Australia, the next round would go more than 85. It would at least stay at 85, if not come down with the living in Western Australia. It can go higher for the applicants living outside Western Australia, as the interstate applicants also can be deemed invited. But we just think that they would be going at the higher points only. So depending upon how many points you are having, we decide or we advise the client whether they should be lodging both the EOIs or they should only be going with the 190 EOI only. As if you have lodged both EOIs, automatically you would be sitting at the higher points of 491. So you will be invited for a 491 first, even if the cutoff points are less than what you are having in your 190 EOI also. So it is a deciding factor which EOI to be lodged. The requirements for both the EOIs or both the state nominations are different. For a 491 EOI, applicant does not need to provide any employment contract from Western Australia. However, for a 190 invite, applicant needs to show 6 months of a contract from an employer in Western Australia and providing them minimum 35 hours per week contract. The employer must be trading in Western Australia. Your place of work needs to be in Western Australia. Your job description must be closely related to your nominated occupation. The closely related factors is only the first 4 ENSCO code of the occupation. As in, if you are a mechanical engineer and you have been given your job contract as a production and plant engineer, this is closely related. Mechanical engineer and the contract is for mechanical tradesperson or a technician is not closely related, because these are completely 2 different ENSCO levels. The ENSCO level and the first 4 digits must relate to your closely related occupation. Then only it is considered. Otherwise, it is not. Another aspect for the employer, the kind of documentation which you have to give is basically to show that your employer is currently in Western Australia. The company can be registered in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, any other state of Western Australia, doesn't matter. Head office can be anywhere. As long as they have got 1 trading office or 1 trading place, which can be even a home office in Western Australia, is accepted by the WA state government. They would need the 1 or 2 invoices in the name and address of the employer to see whether the company is currently is trading in Western Australia. In addition to that, you could be asked to provide the lease agreement, all the business premises pictures and all, and you need to liaise with an officer for an additional request if asked for. You do not have to provide these documents at the time of an application, but you have to give this if the officer requests for. Not all the applicants are required to provide these ones unless until it's requested. You also need to provide your job description. Your employment contract must be at the market salary rate of your nominated occupation. If you are offered below that one, your application can be refused. So it is important that the annual salary, which has been mentioned in your contract, must meet the market salary rate. If there's another employee working at the similar position and that is below the market salary rate, employer can provide that one also to show that how they are meeting the market salary rate. Now, the next thing comes for the graduates of Western Australia. Again, the graduates of Western Australia, this occupation is also divided among 2 different streams. The stream 1 is the higher education, where the applicants with the master's and PhD degrees are considered as the highest qualification obtained. Then comes the bachelor honors, then comes the bachelor's. That's the hierarchy, how the applicants are being invited. In the last 2 rounds, we have seen the applicants who have completed their master's degree or the PhD have been invited as minimum points as 670. In the coming round, we hope to receive the invites for the applicants who have done the bachelor's degree or honors degree in Western Australia and are currently living in Western Australia with 70 and above points. In addition to that, we have got another stream, which is the vocational education stream. In those ones, in the previous rounds, we only have received the invites for the applicants who have completed advanced diploma in Western Australia. And the highest qualification obtained is, highest minimum points is 70 also in this scenario. Anyone who have done a diploma, even sitting at 85 points were not invited or more. Now we see that maybe the applicants for the diploma at 70 and above should get invited, as well as the advanced diploma at 65. Same in the master's stream. Master's degree holders at 65 points have got the chances of receiving an invite in this upcoming round. Now, why I've done this seminar today, because I really want everyone to be prepared for their expression of interest. As we were receiving a lot of humors from a lot of clients who were coming and saying us that maybe there will not be any more rounds. They have invited a lot of people in the previous round, but the invitation still being held. And we have received the confirmation from the state that still they would be going with the bigger and the larger and a huge round, and applicants must be ready. If you expression of interest or an invitation is like a lottery ticket. If you have not lodged in, if you're not in, you will not get it. So make sure you have lodged your expression of interest. Your date of effect or date of application initially submitted must be as old as it can be, so that you increase your chances if you're sitting at the minimum points. As they start the invite from the highest points, they go back to the minimum, and whosoever is sitting at the minimum points at the initial date of submission will be invited first, as compared to the one who has lodged it later. So I request everyone again that they must go with their EOI lodgements. Now we'll be taking few questions, and let's see what we have it here. The first question is from Shahid Ali Khan. What are the chances for mechanical engineer offshore with 75 points WA 491 visa? Shahid, mechanical engineer WA. Now I really need to know which stream are you talking about. If you're talking about the stream, the general stream, you have not studied from Western Australia, 75 points seems too less for us. You should also lodge your for your 189, but you're sitting at 75 points, so that means you're sitting at 60 for a 189. Then probably, because engineers have been invited at 189 for 189 at 65 points also. Try to increase your 5 points, or 75 points for Western Australia under the gender stream. If you have not studied from here, looks like it's a big shot. Yeah. Next from Sujan Bhandari. Any chance for cook 80 plus 5 for 190 living in New South Wales? So cook with 85 points for 190, 85 points under the general stream has been invited, the one who are living in Western Australia. So if you are expecting the invite living in New South Wales, again, this could be a wait, or you should look into moving to Western Australia. WA does not need an applicant to be living in WA from the last 3 months or 6 months. Even if you move now, and by the time you are invited and accepting, you have got one proof of residence, then you will be fine with it. All of you, please be aware that state does not accept the bank statement or the license as the proof of address in Western Australia. So if you have moved to Western Australia and just only changed your bank statements, the address and bank statements, that will not be accepted by the state government. Please ensure to have a different utility bill or any other invoices and so forth to prove that you are living in Western Australia. Sujan, again, getting back to you, 85 points for 190 is maybe a wait for another couple of rounds, or you can try to lodge your 491. For 491, you would be sitting at 100, which is the high points. While living in New South Wales, you can receive an invite. Adnan Mazhar, currently in Western Australia, developer programmer, 95 points, including state points. Any chances? Adnan, you should have received the invite in the previous round also. If you have just lodged your EOI and sitting at 95 points recently, you have got the chances of receiving an invite. Kunal Agarwal, what are the chances for mechanical engineer at 100 points for 491 who is moving to WA soon? Kunal, it doesn't matter whether you are moving to WA soon or you have already moved yet or not, because it all depends upon what is the state of current residence in your expression of interest. 100 points for 491, living in Western Australia, is a good one to receive the invite in the coming round itself. What if the experience is not 1 year and you get the invitation for Schedule 1? What are the chances and not living in? I know. If the experience is not 1 year yet and you are very close to the experience, you need to drag your application processing as much as you can, and you just see whether you will meet the requirement at the time of decision or not. The experience doesn't matter, because when they are inviting the applicants under the Schedule 1, they are not looking into whether you have an experience or not. They're inviting you, and then it is up to the applicant to whether receive that invite and to meet the experience requirement. In addition to that, you would still be required to provide an employment contract. So see, if you can get an employment contract without moving into WA, and the contract is to be started within the next 3 months, then you could, and you are meeting the requirements of 1 year experience within next couple of months, maybe 3 months, because you can maximum drag your application with 3 to 4 months. Next question is from Bin Uday. Hello, Preeti. My name is Bindu. Sorry, Bindu. I am Panal Pavan's sister-in-law. I have over 6 years of experience into human resources. I've given my PT and scored 55 in all module. Altogether with state sponsorship, I have 65. Please invite if there is any chance of my profile. Bindu Farvidan, human resources advisor is only under the graduate list of Western Australia. So that is not, and if you are not a graduate of Western Australia, then the points are not enough. You would need a skills assessment as a human resources manager, which means your assessment needs to be at a very highly skilled level where you are at a general manager position and at least 3 managers are reporting to you. If that's the scenario, you can get the skills assessment, and at 65 points, there would be a wait for a couple of months, but can be expected to receive an invite. Next question. What about offshore engineers in this round? Ishan, firstly, how we see that the WA state invites work is they invite the graduates first, then the applicants living in Western Australia, then interstate. After that, applicants, graduates of Western Australia living overseas, and then come any other applicant. So it would be a wait for an offshore engineers to started receiving invite from Western Australia. With the wait, I'm not saying months, 6 months or so, could be another 2 rounds after that. Because until this round, they have not started the interstate people yet. So first, before inviting the offshore, interstates would be considered first. Kumar Pradeep, ma'am, I've been invited under graduate WET, but studied only one course for 6 months advanced diploma. If you're invited under the graduate stream, you must have studied in Western Australia for 2 years. Your highest qualification might be the advanced diploma. So this looks like no, you does not meet the requirement under the graduate stream. Aryan, ma'am, I have 70 points for 491 at the moment for general accountant. Are there any chances? Aryan, 70 points for a graduate stream is more than enough. At the master's level, 70 points for a general stream is not good enough at all. Whether you are living here or not, you need to increase your points if you are considered under the general stream. Sham Patel, I've lodged expression of interest with 80 points for 491 chemist. I'm residing in WA, but not a WA graduate. I'm working as a chemist in WA for 6 months. UI lodged on 22nd May to receive an invite. The general stream have been invited at 85 points in the previous round. Now with the next round happening, we do see that there could be chances that applicants living in Western Australia may receive it at the lower points also, can go up to the 80 points. So yes, you do have got a chances. Next from Angel. What is the chance in 491 family stream at 75 points for civil engineer currently in New South Wales? 491 family stream should have been invited in the previous round for a 189 itself, because all 491s were invited. All the engineers 491 were invited, as long as yours EOI is for offshore. Onshore 491 relative sponsored has not been invited yet. Next question is from Bhavan. What are the chances for environmental health officer schedule 2 with 80 points for 491, graduated from Queensland? Again, I said last round was at 85 points. We are anticipating a huge round in the month of November also. Applicants living in WA at 80 points can have the hope of receiving an invite. Sagar Dhiman, 85 points for 491, submitted in August in Diploma of Hospitality. Sagar, the previous round has gone at 75 points for advanced diploma. Next round, we are hoping will come down to the diploma holders also. So again, you have got the chances. Mamta Sharma, I'm having 90 points, including state points, and working as a business analyst, system business analyst, having 1.7 years, currently living in New South Wales. 90 points for the state through with interstate. 85 with the one living in WA has been invited. 95 could be the one where the interstates would be invited, or you could think of moving to Western Australia. Because even once you have received an invite, you need to move here. And after the grant, you have got the commitment of living here for 2 years. Anyways. So you should look into moving here so that you receive the invite within the first round before the quota gets exhausted, because right now you have got the higher points, but you would keep sitting in the interstate and thinking of receiving an invite. The quota may get exhausted in the next couple of months, and then you regret that you should have moved here, because the minute you will move here, you have got a kind of points that you should get invited. Even if you change your state now and you move quickly now. Lima, community worker, WA diploma graduate, 75 points for 190. 75 points for diploma. You may have to wait another one round, because last time advanced diploma at the 70 points have been invited. So if the diploma points comes down to 75, then yes. Kunal, what are the chances of mechanical engineer at 100 who is moving to WA soon? Kunal, I guess we just answered your question. Chances of chef at 85 from New South Wales. 85 points. Applicants living in Western Australia have got very high points, very high chances. They all have been invited in the previous round. As I'm saying in my previous comment also, you guys are waiting for the WA invite and have lodged there your expression of interest as living in interstate. Now, if you move to Western Australia, you are sitting at the points where you will receive the invite within the first round itself. Highly recommend the applicants sitting at 85 or above to move to Western Australia or to change their EOI as in current residents of Western Australia. Then and after the invite or after the grant of the visa, you have to be in Western Australia anyways. Then why not to move now and receive an invite rather than sitting interstate and hoping to receive an invite? However, if living in WA, very high chances are a kind of yes, you will receive an invite. Aussizz Ahmed, do we need 6 months of employment contract or 1 year for 190? What is the minimum requirement? Aussizz, for general stream schedule 1 year contract is required. And for a schedule 2, 190 visa, 6 months contract is required. So it depends upon under what stream have you been invited. Ravi, Master in Civil Engineering, working full-time related to field, 80 in EOI in September 2022. Master in Civil Engineering, looks like you should have been invited in the previous round if you are a graduate of Western Australia. Seems like you are under a general stream. General stream last round was at 85 points. This round looks like should go at 80 for the ones living in Western Australia. Chance of chemical engineer offshore at 80 points for 190. Chemical engineer offshore. Ashan, you should look into lodging 189 even at 65 points offshore. You will be having a high chance of receiving a 189 invite straight away. Jay Kumar, I'm a developer programmer and analyst programmer with 2 years experience in New South Wales. What are my chances of WA with 49195 and 19085? Jay, if for 95 points at 491, yeah, as an interstate applicant, you do see chances of receiving an invite. Ayush Singh, chances for telecommunication engineer, electronics engineer, New South Wales, 105 points for 491 Western Australia. You should have received an invite in the previous round itself because interstates more than 100 or at 125 points were invited. You really need to check that everything in your EOI is correct or your EOI is it very recent. Nanan Labial, what is the chances of Bachelor of Community Worker WA graduate 65? A low chances because the bachelor's degree, we may say being invited at 70, 75 points in the next round. 65 is a bit low. If it's only a 190 EOI, you should look into lodging a 491 at the same time. Ayush, chances of electronics, yeah, we've done that. And Renuka, chances for taxation accountant, 95 points in New South Wales. EOI lodged in September. Renuka, taxation accountant in September with interstate. Maybe need to wait for another month or so because the ones living in Western Australia, taxation accountant with January at 85 points have been invited. So the taxation or anything relevant, closely related to this, we have seen mostly at 100 points or the EOIs which are lodged last year in November, December. Your EOI seems to be September this year. So maybe a wait, or you need to lodge a 491, or if you move to Western Australia, very high chances of receiving at 85 points itself. Shreyas lodged an EOI with WA address in October 2022. I also have an EOI which was lodged in July. Shall I use my WA and I have 85 points as mechanical engineer? You should looking into swapping, and which you should have done earlier, because if you have done it, you would have been invited. Computer networking, 85, living New South Wales. At 85 points, you seem to be having a wait. If you are living in New South Wales, highly recommend that you should move to Western Australia. Sana Makar. Jay Kumar, I'm a developer and analyst with 2 years experience, New South Wales. What are chances of WA with 190, 95? I just answered that, Jay. Shannon Chong, what are the chances of 85 points accountant for 190 lodged in June? 85 points for accountant lodged in June. Accountants for 85 points under the general stream, they were invited up to the 29th of March 2022 EOI. April, May, June, it should look like that it should go up for the 3 months, and let's hope. Ayush, chances for telecommunication engineer, we have answered that. Nanan Labial, what is the chances for Bachelor of Community Services, WA graduate 65? No, for 65 Bachelor, as I said, you need to increase your points. Shreyas, does car rego and car insurance will be acceptable? Proof of living needs to be within very closely to the date of an invitation. So if that's annual thing and that's lodged time ago, then no, they are not. Mukesh Billa, telecommunication, 85 points, including regional. How are the chances? Mukesh, are you living in Western Australia? If yes, then high chances. If you are not living in Western Australia, then the chances are low. And I highly recommend you to move to Western Australia if you are really looking forward for an invite. Wong Chuk, does our EOI gets invalid once we don't accept invitation? Or what do we need to do another EOI? Your EOI is lapsed and you will not be invited on the same EOI again. Makul, can we update the EOI after receiving the pre-invite WA once NATI credentials received during the processing, or should we wait for the new one? We are 5 points down right now, then claimed points. Sorry, I didn't get your question. If you have received an invite, then you do not need to update your EOI. And if you're 5 points down than the claimed one, that means you have overclaimed your EOI. You cannot go ahead with that. You need to go for a new EOI. Mukesh, chances of 491 computer network systems engineer living in WA, master's general stream, 95 points. Mukesh Billa, you should lodge a 190, because if you are a master's under a general stream, you must be sitting at 85 points, and you should look forward of receiving an invite. The last invite was received for the months until the March 2022. So you also need to see whether you have got an old EOI to be replaced with this. Trishul Patel, mechanical engineer and accountant at 85 points, both living in Victoria. 85 points is the one high chances of living in Western Australia. You will definitely have got chances of receiving an invite. Journey Australia, what are the chances for computer network 85, New South Wales? Interstate, again, I'm saying applicants living in Western Australia have received the invite at 85 points. So interstates waiting at 85 points would be a wait for a while. 85 living in WA with bachelor's higher degree. Mukesh, you have got high chance. Mukesh, you are asking different questions for the same. So how many UIs do you have? Chances for telecommunication engineer and electronics engineer living in New South Wales at 105 points. For 491, I haven't received invitation for WA. 105 points for 491 Western Australia. So you need to check the date of effect of your UI. The last one invited was for March 2022. Preeti Puri launched another UI on 1st of December, 491, 80 points, living and working in WA for 8 months. What are the chances? Pradeep, I need to know the occupation and the stream that you are looking forward. Hussein Norman, when is the round going to happen? The round is supposed to be between the 3rd week of each month. So we are anticipating anything between 18th and 25th of November, the round should happen. Trishul Patel, mechanical engineer and accountant at 85 points, living in Victoria. 85 points, you need to move, otherwise will be a wait. Mayur Tena, it is related to finance professional immigration. Is it related to? For the finance professional, there are quite a bit of occupations, but they are all under the graduate stream. So you need to come be studied in WA and have an occupation relevant to the finance to be invited for WA under a graduate stream. Shrestha Suchta, 90 points for accountant general, 491, residing in New South Wales, not working in health sector as physiotherapist. Any chances for WA 491? At 90 points, it looks like a low chances. Interstate applicants, we just see 95 in the previous rounds. So, and also depends upon when is your EOI. If your EOI is quite old, then maybe. Motor mechanic, general stream 2, chances of 90 WA, residing in Victoria, 95 points. 95 points can look forward towards receiving an invite in the coming rounds. Mechanical engineer and accountant at 85, we have talked about it. Swami Aussizz, how long do you think it will take between invitation and not with these large invite rounds? Okay, this is a good question. We have spoken to WA, how they are managing their applications. They have not started looking into the October applications even yet. And the September invitation round, they are still just doing those ones. So if anybody has got the invites for and have request for the priority, state is not even accepting those priority requests also and advising the client to look for the second options of if their visas are expiring or their English tests are expiring. So highly recommended that if you have got your skills assessment that is expiring in the next coming months, in 1 or 2 months, and you're expecting WA state to prioritize the application, that's not going to happen. You should look forward in reapplying the state application. Sorry, reapplying your skills assessment or a PTE, not for the state, because they will still process even if it's expired, but you would be needing those ones for the invitation to receive from the Department of Home Affairs. Ankit Huda, I was invited in WA last round, but don't have any proof. Will I get invited again, maybe in October, another occupation? Ankit, once you're invited on one EOI, you do not expect to receive another one on the same EOI. One EOI gets invited once only. You need to have a different EOI for those. Hey, Preeti, that's from God Binde. Is there a chance to get invite for another states with 65? Other states for 65? No. Any other state is not accepting if you are residing interstate. Only the states, if you're living there, are accepting the invites at 65 points. WA is the only one who is accepting the ones at the little bit higher points, 95 and above for the interstate residents. Ankit Huda got only bank statements. You really need to work on your application for having another proof of residence because bank statements will not be accepted by WA state. Aussizz, speaking of quota, there are just 1,500 seats. Do you think they will spread it across the year or keep moving massive rounds? They'll keep having the massive rounds as they have indicated, as not all of the invites which are being given, they accept those ones. Sometimes applicants are invited from 491 and they are duplicated with the 190 in the next round. So not only the 1,500 seats are left, they still have got quite a bit of a quota to give it. They are not going to spread the remaining quota up to the next financial year. We hope or we are thinking that they are going to ask for the more seats once this is exhausted, and that's their strategy, seems like. Trishul Patel, mechanical engineer, accountant at 85 points, living in Victoria. Trishul, as I mentioned, 85 points for interstate are not enough. Either need to move the points or increase the points, or need to move to WA. 80 points enough for 190 visa as restaurant manager. Deepak, I don't know whether it is a general stream or a graduate stream. Graduate stream, 80 is enough. Then again, depends what is your qualification, master's or advanced diploma. If you haven't done those, if it's a bachelor's or a diploma, then 80 is enough. If you're an interstate resident living in WA, 80, you may get it. If you are interstate, 80 is not the good points. Monik Casey, hi ma'am, 80 for accounting, living in regional New South Wales. 1 year to finish civil engineering. Should I move to WA? 80, living in account with 80 points. Current points have been 85 for the ones living in Western Australia. This round, we are expecting it because for the accountants, they have invited up to March 2022. So this time we just expect that more applicants will be invited, but this points will still remain the same, which is 85. But the date of effect of an EOI could move further for 3 to 4 months. Chances of CNSC, 190 living in WA with 80 points. Again, the computer networks and systems engineer under the general stream schedule 2, they were invited up to the March 2022. So 85 and at the 85 points, we still expect that it will still remain at 85 points, not an 80 in this November round. What are the chances of CNSC 85 living regional Australia? Are you talking about WA, living WA? Yes, you have got the chances. Interstate, no. Sanhans, living New South Wales regional, computer networking 85. Interstate applicants at 85 should look forward towards moving to WA. They would be invited here. Hey Hammer, motor mechanics 75 points for WA. Any chances? EOI lodged in August 2021 from New South Wales. 75 points is too less for an interstate applicant to be invited. The last time it was invited at 70 points, and that's it. After that, we haven't seen those low points for the interstate applicants, but still those were the ones living in Western Australia. Ayush, my EOI is dated 2022, August, and points are 105. I'm an interstate applicant. What are the chances? Ayush, what is your occupation? Raymond, 482 visa, section 56, have a chance. Raymond, you need to get in touch with us, book an appointment so I can look into your section 56 request and see whether we can meet that or not. Aditya Chaudhary got pre-invite and applied on 22nd of October. When can expect the invite? So the processing time can go up to 2 months, and then you can receive the department's invite. Trishul Patel, mechanical engineer and accountant at 85. We have talked about that. Arvinder Singh, chances for painting trade worker, 75 points, 190, not living in Queensland. Okay, so are you living in Western Australia? 75 points for 190 for a trade worker. The last round has been at 85, so you should look into lodging a 491 EOI. Iruka, production manager, 75 offshore. You should look into Iruka, looking into the engineering qualification and see you can get a skills assessment as an engineer, maybe mechanical or production and plant, and see if you can get an engineer offshore 189. Norman Joe, 65 points. Is there any chance for 190 as qualified chef? Have been living in WA for 5 years. 65 points for 190. Norman, if you are looking under a general stream, the points seems to be quite low. You should look for either a 491 or look towards studying in Western Australia. Or Norman, you should even look into 186 fees as an employer sponsored. Sridhar, 90 points ICT business analyst with 3 years experience. EY September, any transfer invite, staying in New South Wales, but I changed proof of residence as, if you're staying in New South Wales, how did you change your proof of address as WA? You should not be giving any fraudulent information in your expression of interest. Nirvik Basnet, any chance of 95 developer programmer in WA or Victoria? Currently in New South Wales, working as a developer with 1 year. Confused between WA and Victoria, can transfer as company offices in Victoria. Nirvik, if you move to Western Australia, you would need a 6 months of an employment contract for 190. If you can find those ones, you have got very high chances to be invited in the first round as you move here. If you talk about the Victoria, you need to be living over there, and even the 95 points for Victoria is also good. You have got an employer, so that means you can straight away get into the annual earning of 65 and above, and then you can receive an invite. So that's the difference between the WA. You have to find an employer. Victoria, you already have an employer, can think of moving there and lodge an ROI that with the annual earning and living in Victoria. Trishul, mechanical engineer and accountant, we have talked about it. Aina Sahan got an invitation from WA, 491, schedule 1, enrolled nurse, experience 3 months. Aina, 3 months you have just gotten experience. You need to show your 1 year experience. So looks like it's a far shot. Doesn't look like it will get approved. Surat Subedi, chances of general accountant with 85 living in New South Wales. Not chances unless until you move to WA or increase your points to 95 to 100. Or an OV living in New South Wales, 90 points. 80 for 190 as an accountant. Again, I said 95 points could be a good points for interstate applicants, or with couple of weight, 90 could be all right. Replying to Pradeep Kumar, chef. Hey Hamer, motor mechanic 75 for 190 from WA. What's the chances? 75 at 190 from WA is not a good points to be invited for an interstate unless until you move. For a 2 visa, receive natural justice, what to do? Speak to the agent and see what are the chances. We can't say unless until you can victory your natural justice. Natural justice is not a hour, but all you have to do is just meet the requirements of natural justice and reply them honestly. Vinay Patel, computer networking, 95 points in WA qualification, masters interstate. Living in WA, 95 points. Vinay, you should be invited soon. I must state that you are living in WA. ICT trainer, 70 points. Which stream, Parvinder? I'm a chef, study in Victoria, currently working in WA almost 2 years. I have 75 points with state points, applied for 491, 119. Now, how long I have to wait? You're living in Victoria. You are sitting at 75 points, which is too less for an interstate applicant to receive an invite. You need to move to Western Australia. Nitika Chawla, 95 points, business analyst, living in WA. Nitika, you should have received an invite. If you haven't, then you must look into your EOI. There must be some issues with it. If it's a recent EOI, then that's fine. You will receive an invite. Parvinder Pal, ICT trainer, 70 points, living in India, 491 or any other state. Interstate would be invited as the 5th priority, so that would be a wait for quite a while. Motor mechanic, 75 for 190 from WA. What's the chances? Very less, because motor mechanics interstate, 75 points is too less. Manil Bawa, mechanical engineer 75, any chances for 190? Sitting at 80 points, Interstate, no. Sitting at 80 points, move to WA, yes, you would be having chances. It looks like rest of the ones are repeated. I would still have a look. Vinul, Aina, Ankit. Niyati Gachar Patel, 85 developer schedule 2. What are the chances? Date of effect is August 2021. Developer programmer living in Interstate. I would say if you move to WA, very high chances of receiving invite quickly. Anna, the same question you have mentioned so many times. ICT business analyst, 95 plus 15, living in Western Australia. Rohit Swami, you should receive an invite, or you should have received an invite by now. High chances to be invited. All right, so here I finish all the messages that I have received. If there's any message that I have left, I apologize for that, and we would be giving an answer to those ones. Feel free to get in touch with us in case you have got any queries for your expression of interest. Your UI is the main basic point where the state invites you and the further Department of Home Affairs gives you or the approval of your visa application. If there's anything in your UI which is incorrect, maybe it can be picked up at the state level, but it is very rarely, because the state does not look into the points that you have claimed. If you have overclaimed any of your points, then Department of Home Affairs is the one where you get caught and it's too late at that point of time. Or if there's anything in your UI which is stopping you in receiving an invite and you just say, my friend has received an invite and why not me? There's always a 99% chances that there's something in the UI which is not done correctly, and then you have lost the train for those ones. So I highly recommend take the professional advice for your UIs. You can go to, take professional advice. I'm not saying they just only have to come to us, but if you come to us, we'll make sure that your EOIs are deemed so that you receive an invitation. And I just say good luck to everyone who is waiting for their invitations. It is a good news from the department that irrespective of doing the huge round previously, they're still anticipated to do another huge round. And we look to see you all once you receive an invite. Thank you for listening. Thanks a lot.